Hey guys, this is Denise Cooper, and I am going to talk about my road to Coetzee, my road to disgrace. Well, let me share something with you. I went on a search for finding out about some African writers from Africa, from the big, huge continent, and all those countries. I figured I'd take about 4 or 5 books and learn about this beautiful place. And this is what I picked up. I read My Traitor's Heart by Rian Milan, and this is about apartheid in South Africa and his connection, his family connection to those who are involved in apartheid. He's a journalist and he comes back home, and it says a South African exile returns to face his country, his tribe, his conscience. This is written by a white male in Africa, an African, talking about apartheid that his family is responsible for. This is a find. I felt like when I read this, why did this not win 1,000,001 awards? This should be Pulitzer Prize, Booker Prize winning material right here. I'm so glad I found this book. It is not for the lighthearted. It is not for those who cannot stomach racism, brutalization of people and ideas, and this is not the book for you. But if you want to learn something, a truism from someone's own voice that lived it, breathed it, witnessed it, wrote about it, and is still writing songs about it. He's a beautiful musician also. Look him up, Mr. Rian Milan, and let me stop covering his name. See that down there? One of my favorite books of all time. This is part of my road to Coetzee. Then I found, didn't really need to find this. This is a man that we all know and love, and I found this book and got it free. This is A Long Walk to Freedom, Mr. Nelson Mandela, and it says should be read by every person alive. Everybody should read this book. So I'm like, what have I been doing? I'm on my journey, right? Definitely on my journey. Found this book, got it free. So that's 2. And then as I've shown you guys before, I read this book with my book club, and where did it go? I'm going to disappear and come back up, and there I am. This is a book by Ishmael Bey, right? A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier. This book, I told you guys, if you want to read something about this war and what they did to bring young men into this war and fight, pick up this book. He has a new book out too. I forget what it's called, and maybe I should have looked it up, but this is not about this book. Partly, this is Mr. Ishmael Bey on the back. This is my road to Coetzee. Okay, that's 3 down, and then the 4th one, gotta bend down and pick that up because I was dropping stuff and got lazy. This one here, it's called I wish I could say it, Mukiwa, M-U-K-I-W-A, A White Boy in Africa, by Peter Godwin. Haven't read this book yet because the first one I read was Ishmael Bey's A Long Way Home, or A Long Way Gone, and then I read A Traitor's Heart by Mr. Rian Milan. Tragic, but the most amazing book I've read so far, along with Mr. Ishmael Bey. Both of those 5-star books, just amazing. And it gave me exactly what I was looking for. African writers are so deep and truthful and honest, and the way they tell their stories compared to any other African American writers, white American writers, British writers, anyone else that I have found, it's in a different light. And maybe it's just because I was so tuned in and wanted to know, because I'm sure you can say that about any culture. All they write, it's different than anybody else's. Yeah, it is, but their writing strikes a chord with me specifically for some reason, whether they're a black writer in Africa or a white writer in Africa. and this is another white writer. So I had 2 African books, different countries and continents, on that one continent that is, 2 black and 2 white, and I picked those up. So those are the 4 on my road to Coetzee. If I didn't check out those books, actually those are mine, I own all those. The only one that I didn't purchase was The Long Walk to Freedom, and I'm about to drop my Coetzee book. So then I found Mr. Coetzee by looking and wanting to read more about Africa by African writers, not some story to be told to me on the night news and what's going on and who's killing who and what have you, and apartheid this and apartheid that, and like people have to have a ticket in order to present themselves acceptable in an area in South Africa and so forth and so on, and we all know about that, and maybe you don't. If you don't know much about apartheid, I'd suggest you look it up. Those are some awesome suggestions. I can say that because I've read 2 of them out of the 4. And the reason why I haven't read the other 2 is because when you start reading about that back to back, and then I was reading a lot of articles during that time and watching a lot of videos, it's only much that I could take. Okay, and so I just looked up African writers from all over that continent, and that's how I found Coetzee. That's part of my road to Coetzee. This is the first Coetzee book I read, Foe. Coetzee always puts himself in these characters. There's always a writer. I've only read 3 Coetzee books now, including Disgrace, the one I'm going to talk about in a minute. But this one is a common story. If you haven't read Coetzee, this might be a good place to start, because everyone knows the story of Robinson Crusoe, but Coetzee puts a female character on the island talking about the whole story of Mr. Crusoe, and she's also trying to convince Mr. Daniel Defoe, the writer of Robinson Crusoe, to write this book. And it's just very good, and it's very wordy because she has to. I mean, she's the one narrating the whole story. But Coetzee is such a strong character that I can hear him. It's him. It's just amazing. And there's always a writer aspect in it himself. But this is layers. It's just layers, and it's just good, and I don't want to spoil it. If you want to start light, but not, it's definitely lighter than Disgrace, and but it's really good. It's a very good conversation book too. We had a good time talking about this book when I read it with the book club. So, Foe by Coetzee, on a story that you are familiar with. So that's why I say it's probably a good place to start. And then I read one of my favorite Coetzee books to date is Diary of a Bad Year. This is good. Again, Coetzee, another character. It's a male character. He's an older man now, and he's writing a novel about his views and his ideas, and it's just very, very good. But he has this woman, this female character, writing up the book because he's old and he's a little too slow with the typewriter, and so she's writing up, she's typing up the book that he's writing. So there's 3 different points of view in this book: Coetzee, the young lady that's writing the book, and her boyfriend. So it's really good. But the best thing about it is the book that he's writing. So you get to read a book within a book. Mr. Coetzee, amazing. And so there's those layers, and there's easily identifiably 3 layers within those 3 characters, all Coetzee. Then Disgrace. Layers upon layers. This book, I took notes, I wrote down words that I haven't seen before, and I love doing that. This is a 5-star book because it covered every step that I need to be fulfilled in a book. And I have a video on that somewhere when I asked you guys to help me write or rate The White Tiger. And I read my list on there, and I couldn't give White Tiger a 5 because there was just something that was left unsaid, and I needed to be fulfilled on that one little thing. And I know it felt like I was nitpicky, but I really needed it. I got it here. So this is a 5-star book. I got it. This is layers and layers. This is apartheid. This is someone sacrificing herself up to crimes that have gone unpunished. Okay? I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's very hard to talk about this book and not give a spoiler. This book is, like I said, it's like biblical. Let me just go to my notes a little bit. Just hang in there for a second. When I wrote down the word disgrace, and I'm thinking, how many layers, how many things do I think that it covered in there? If I had a book club right now, again, which I'm going to have to start my book club again. I just came back home from a concert tonight, seeing Mr. Leon Bridges, and 2 of my book club members were there. We went to go see him together, and I was talking about Disgrace. They've both read this book. Walt, who told us the whole book club about Foe, read it in college, he said. So, he loved it. And anyway, so we're talking, but we need to bring this book again. Anyway, so when I'm writing it down and I'm thinking, what kind of layers, what topics did it cover? I put down biblical. Like page 90 to 91 and 92. It's talking about animal rights. Animal rights was the second thing I wrote down. Not that they're in order or anything. It's just that these are the layers that you get covered in this book. Some of them, and I didn't write down all of them. Okay. Biblical, animal rights. It discusses free will, if you're paying attention. The right to honor your own nature. Man, does he have a bone to pick with that. One of my favorite 2 words that he put together in this book is Pavlovian regularity. I just love that. And when he talks about the story about the dog. And then another layer, his daughter. I put down Lucy, and how she offers herself as a sacrifice to the apartheid crimes that go unpunished. That was my thought when I was reading that, and the brutality that she suffered in this book, and then that sacrificial, oops, I just hit my wash machine, sorry. Oh my goodness. You guys, I could go on and on and on and talk about this book, and I can't do that. I can't. You have to read it. But that was the part in the book I kept going, no, Lucy, no. And I'm a black woman, and you would think, and I even thought to myself, like, yeah, let her. Yeah. And you know, and she's white, and they're black, and blah, 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 and somebody needs to pay. No, you don't think about that when you're human. You don't think about that when there's so many layers in this book. But I was trying to play devil's advocate, and like, why would she want to do that? I'm like, get your baby girl out of there. And oh my goodness, I don't know. Lucy, you are a white woman in Africa, and you witnessed what went on. You know the history, you know the present, you know things aren't finished being said and done and over with. And she's got a neighbor who also works with her, works for her, hires people, pays her dad to do some odd jobs. So, and he's purchasing land from her, and she's just feeding it to him, and he's taking it from her, or she's easily giving it up to him. It's almost like she's apologizing by sacrificing herself. Oh my gosh, I'm talking way too much about this book, but those are some of the layers. Kamil reads. He has the most on-point review of Disgrace. I'll link it below if you haven't already seen it, and people that watch me probably have, because I don't have a lot of people that watch me. But I'm telling you, if you have stumbled on my video and you want to hear a really good proper review of Disgrace, I'll link it below. It's Kamil Reads. Thanks, Kamil, for reading this book with me. I truly, truly, truly enjoyed it. I don't even want to wrap up this video talking about it. I wrote down some stuff that I'm just still gonna, I can't wait. I'm going to dedicate 1 month of 2015 to Coetzee. So I've read 3 so far, and then I think up next is one of the new books that I showed you guys. Oh, and I didn't get the other one off my desk, but as you know, The Master of Petersburg, I think I'm going to save this for Coetzee month. And since I was born in April, and I don't celebrate birthdays, but I'm going to celebrate my born month, because I'll be 50 years old in April. And I'm going to read all the Coetzee books that I haven't read. I have Life and Times of Michael K. That's the one that came in the mail that I'm too lazy to get up. It's in my bedroom, which is right around the corner. And I'm just going to keep on going. And I've got to get all those books that Kamil, I'm watching your reviews. I think it was Duskland. I'm sorry. And I definitely have to have that beautiful Waiting for the Barbarians. I can't wait to read that. But I'm going to read the ones that I haven't read in the month of April. It's Coetzee month. Coetzee month? Did I say that right? Anyway, Coetzee month, 2015, April. Bye, you guys. Read Mr. JMC. Enjoy. Thanks, Kamil. It was fun knowing you were on the other side reading that book. Bye, you guys. Bye, Tasha. Sorry for dragging you on.